What's going on, everyone? I am just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the geography of Ontario. So, here in the United States, you better believe we aren't taught anything about Canada's geography. I mean, it's hard enough learning all of the US geography that they try to teach us. In like fourth grade, they expect you to memorize like all 50 states and their capitals. It's kind of traumatizing in a way. So honestly, it was relatively recently that I even learned that you guys have like provinces and territories, not states. I think a lot of Americans don't even know that. And that Ontario is different than Ottawa and stuff like that. So today I want to take a look at this video here which explains a lot of the fundamentals of Ontario's geography that we are not taught here in the US. So, let's take a look.
Today we're starting big with Ontario, Canada's most populous province. Ontario is absolutely massive, and it's much more than its large cities. At over
Okay.
1 million square kilometers, it's about the same size as France and Spain combined, and it's split into three distinct.
What? What did he say? What was that? Hold on. Go back. Did he say what I think he said? How big is this?
Massive, and it's much more than its large cities. At over 1 million square kilometers, it's about the same size as France and Spain combined.
What? Since when? Like, don't answer that. Since the formation of the planet, probably. But, that's not what I mean. Like, what? This is what I'm talking about. How even, like, I'm sure Canadians are all aware of the massive scale of Ontario, but I didn't know. This is France and Spain put together? I can't help but wonder, like, am I are France and Spain smaller than I think, or is Ontario is just way way more massive than I thought? Cuz I think in my mind I kind of, just thought a province in Canada is about the same size as a state in the US. That's what that's not at all even close to being true. So, that's pretty mind blowing. Okay, so Ontario is very, very, very big. They said like 1 million kilometers. I don't know what that means, kilometers and stuff. Like, I have no reference for that, but this makes it clear that's pretty freaking big.
And it's split into three distinct geological zones that tell the story of this region's geology. In the extreme north, you've got the Hudson Bay lowlands, flat, marshy, and largely inaccessible. This
Ontario is cut into three zones of like different sort of geography or terrain or biome or whatever you call it. You know what I mean? The northern part is it's by that body of water, the Hudson Bay. So it's like marshy? I guess that makes sense.
Hudson Bay lowlands, flat, marshy, and largely inaccessible. This is Muscat country, where permafrost lurks just below the surface and
What does that mean? What is you can't just throw out the terms. Muscat country? What?
where permafrost lurks just below the surface and polar bears wander the coastline in places like Polar Bear Provincial Park. The
I I don't mean to laugh, but I thought it was like a stereotype we had that there's like polar bears walking around in Canada and it's always cold and there really are polar bears in northern Ontario. Like protected? like in a habitat? Or they're not, are they wild? I'm confused.
the surface, and polar bears wander the coastline in places like Polar Bear Provincial Park. The region just to the south is dominated by the Canadian Shield, which is ancient Precambrian rock, some of the oldest rock on Earth, scraped clean by glaciers and dotted with literally hundreds and thousands of lakes.
So Ontario has vastly different terrain. North is very wet and marshy. Polar bears. um, you go towards the middle, and it's like rock. It's this prehistoric rock stuff.
This is boreal forest territory where black spruce and jack pine stretch endlessly.
And
To the south
forest.
sit the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence lowlands, relatively flat, fertile land that's home to the vast majority of Ontario's population.
Right, hold on. Here's the map. This is the part I'm probably most familiar with, or like most Americans, if we know anything, it's like this is where Toronto is, for sure. It's by Michigan. Yeah, because it's by Detroit. And I don't know, it's the most habitable region because it's the most southern. Okay.
Relatively flat, fertile land that's home to the vast majority of Ontario's population. This is where glacial Lake Iroquois once sat, leaving behind rich clay soils perfect for agriculture. And speaking of the
Oh.
Great Lakes, Ontario borders 4 of them.
So Southern Ontario, it's not just like a temperature thing, although I think that has a lot to do with it. Being a nicer place to live, it's more south. The literal landscape, the soil is more fertile. It like are there farms? Do people do farming in Southern Ontario, or do you take advantage of that, or I don't know.
Great Lakes, Ontario borders 4 of them: Superior, Huron, Erie, and Ontario. Together, they form one of the world's largest freshwater systems.
Sure.
Niagara Falls, sitting between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, moves over
Right.
700,000 gallons of water per second over that famous waterfall.
Right.
Now, Ontario's human geography is fascinating. Over 16 million people live here. That's 38% of Canada's entire population in
16 million, did they say?
live here.
16 million. That's so fascinating because that's a lot less than a lot of US states' populations. And yet Ontario is way more massive. So does that mean like everyone is very spread out, or there's tons of space, or but everyone's all cramped into the southern part? So it's kind of a weird contrast with how big the province is, but it feels like a lot of it can't even be utilized very well, which is kind of unfortunate.
That's 38% of Canada's entire population in just one province. But they are not spread evenly. The Golden Horseshoe, wrapping around the western end of Lake Ontario, is one of North America's largest urban areas.
Oh.
Toronto alone has 3 million people in the city proper, nearly 7 million in the metro area. It's Canada's financial capital, a wildly
Whoa. So this is around that lake. What they say, Lake Ontario, I think. This is all like a huge population hub. It's not just Toronto. This whole area. They said altogether like 7 million, 11 million or something.
is one of North America's largest urban areas. Toronto alone has 3 million people in the city proper, nearly 7 million in the metro area. It's
Wow.
Canada's financial capital, a wildly multicultural city where over 180 languages are spoken, and it's still growing. Ottawa,
What?
the national capital, sits on the Ontario-Quebec border. Then you've got medium-sized cities like Hamilton, the steel capital, and Kitchener-Waterloo, now a major tech hub. But here's the
Okay.
contrast. Drive 4 hours north of Toronto, and
Yeah, like a lot of Americans have heard of Toronto. It took me a while to know where it was on a map. I was I was an adult when I learned where Toronto was or what it was. So take it from me. Like, I think I'm pretty like average in that respect, like Canadian geography. So a lot of American adults don't know where the Canadian cities are or what they're called, or like whatever these are called. That they were talking about more cities. Kitchener, Waterloo.
up. But here's the contrast. Drive 4 hours north of Toronto and you're near wilderness. Towns become tiny here. Northern Ontario is a resource country. Mining towns like Sudbury sit in one of the world's largest impact craters.
It's in a crater? What? What? Are you just making this up? Is this all real? What are you? You're in a crater? Like an asteroid made it, or maybe it's something else. But so people do live in more northern parts of Ontario. There are towns and stuff.
Then there's Thunder Bay, a Great Lakes port city closer to Winnipeg than it is to Toronto.
I've heard the name Thunder Bay. People say it's like a really great place to live or something.
The economy splits along these lines too. The south is finance, manufacturing, tech, and agriculture, while the north is mining, forestry, and increasingly tourism. Aside from
Okay.
the major tourist destinations, what's there to
Tourism? Tourism to the north? Is real? Not the south? Not like this Toronto and stuff? Tourism is in the north? What? To see the polar bears? Or what?
see in Ontario? Well, you should check out Niagara on the Lake, Ontario's wine country, where the Niagara Escarpment
Oh,
creates a unique microclimate. In the north, you have Killarney Provincial Park with its white quartzite ridges that inspired the Group of Seven painters. Lake
nice.
Superior Provincial Park offers some of the most
Cool.
dramatic coastal scenery in Canada.
This is beautiful. I think Ontario is underrated. I think Canada is underrated for travel, and like a lot of Americans on our bucket list is like, before I die, I got to go to France or something. It's like there's a lot of beautiful places, it looks like, in Ontario, Canada, and that we don't even really think about or give a chance.
There's also something weird, the Sudbury Basin. The landscape still looks almost lunar from historic mining damage, or check out the underground attractions like the salt mine under Lake Huron at Goderich.
Okay. Is that it? That is it. Okay, very good. That was like a little geography lesson in a 3-minute video. But that was good. Like I feel like I am they should just like play this video or something in school when we're like kids. Like, just give us some kind of exposure to Canada and what's going on and the geography, and right? You're our neighbor. It's like there's so much we don't know about you. So it's weird that it took this long in my life to like, learn some of this. But anyway, at least here I am. There we go. That was really interesting. Canada, Ontario is fascinating, and a lot of different sort of characteristics and cool stuff too. So this was awesome. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on Ontario, the geography. If you're from Ontario, that'd be cool to hear about any of this stuff you know about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canadian things that I've never seen before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.